tables, which will use it for a, so which will use this for a SCD types also. There is one more file that you have to run it, scd_ddl.sql, right? So now once you do this, this will also create some tables. Now if you see, you have all the target tables are present. Now your source schema is SDBU, right? So your source schema is SDBU and your target schema is going to be your schema what we have logged in, Brian, okay? So this is your target schema which is going to be, okay? Now, which is the folder that you are working? Which your user 1, user 2, right?
2. Yeah.
So when you are logging into the Informatica also, use the user ID password what I have given to you. I have given one user ID password on the mail, right?
Yes.
For logging in Informatica. So I'm logging in with this now, okay? So I'm logging in with your user ID and password. So when I log in, so your assigned folder to you is the user 2. So you have to create all the folder, mappings and everything here, okay? So when you do that, and I've logged in, so you have to start doing it here. So to import the sources, suppose let's say I'm importing the source employee. So I'm using the OLTP schema. So you have to do that. So now you're importing that. You're importing that from the
this part I got it. It's just the.
Yeah. Okay.
I was able to get to this part before, but I was not. Okay, the one that you did in SQL Plus, that's the one I missed. Probably that's what I was not getting.
Okay, to import the targets, so you can create your own DSN or you can use the DSN which I have used, that also, because the target tables are anyways same for everyone. So you can create your own DSN on your schema, on your machine to import this DSN. You understand, right, how to do that?
Yes.
So do that and then import it and then start with a hands-on lab now. Okay, got it? And in the workflow manager also, you have to create one more connection. So I have created a connection in the few days back, in the hands-on lab, I created in the workflow manager called as OLAP_user5 connection. Similarly, you have to create one more connection which will load the data into target schema. That connection should be OLAP_Brian. So like this, the people have created, right? OLAP Malik, OLAP Syed. This for a Syed connection and for a Vishnu, and there is other guy. So you have to create here. You have to create an Oracle new connection. So which I'm doing it for you. So if you want to practice, just delete this and then do it again. So you need to create one more connection here. So use this, and connection string is a ORCL. So for a source, you're going to use this connection, OLTP_SDBU. For a target, you're going to use your connection, OLAP_Brian, right? Clear, Brian? Any questions?
Yes.
Got it, right? Thank you. I'm deleting it. You just carry on with the work, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Thank you. So, yes. Any other questions before proceeding? Any others? Anybody has any other questions regarding the hands-on lab or any difficulties that you are facing or anything? Just bring it to my notice. I'll just try and do that. And Naresh and Prashant, I'm just marking you guys as an organizer, and so that you can start the recording now. Okay. So. And Sohail, yes, I'm making you as also as an organizer. Yes. Yes, Prashant, go ahead with your question. So now I'm starting with lab number 7, which talks about the. Yeah. Anybody has? Yes.
Karthik Srini here. I'm not getting voice in GoToMeeting. I connected through phone actually. Is there any problem?
You have to check your microphone settings. make sure that
voice not coming actually. I cannot mute in my desktop also. It's asking to connect through my phone. I don't know why. Okay. Anyways, is you people are recording these sessions because I am not able to record in my PC. So that's
yeah.
record. You are recording, right?
Yeah, the recording is being done at every PC individually. They are doing a recording, and we'll give you a link maybe at the end of the class. From there, you can just copy all the videos. Okay.
Yeah, can you share me the links from last 3 to 4 days so that I can download them? Because
Everything will be there in that link. So we'll provide you the link. Maybe Hashmi is actually doing into that. So we'll give you the link, and from there you can download all the things. Okay.
Yeah, please share me the link.
Yeah. So next hands-on lab that we are going to discuss is about the joiner, aggregator, and the sorter transformation. So this is a very important and big lab which we are going to discuss how the joiner transformation works, how the aggregator transformation works, and how the sorter transformation works. So if you have a good understanding about the joins in the SQL, yes, so you can easily understand about the joiner transformation. And the way how you use a group by clause is your hello, somebody is pinging. Who is this here? Who is 123 trainings Informatica? Who is joined as this? Okay. Yeah, Sayed. Okay, that's fine. Just ping the user ID and password, right? Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Sayed. And whoever has picked. Okay, so we are proceeding with the next hands-on lab. So the next thing is to understand about the joiner transformation. How the joiner transformation is different from the join, SQL joins, and what is the use of joiner transformation. Those things we will discuss now. So to proceed with the joiner transformation just works like a join condition. I mean, there are different types of joins in the SQL. You have a left outer join, right outer join, inner join, full outer join. All these type of joins are possible using the joiner transformation. How joiner transformation is different from the SQL join condition. So using your SQL join, you can you can join only if the tables are present in the same database. If the tables are present in the same database, you can join. If the tables are present in the two different databases, let's say I have a table A which is present in the SQL server, and I have a table B which is present in the Oracle database. You can't join them. You can't join them. Two tables are from the two different databases. So SQL join has a limitation, and it can join the tables which are from the same database. It can join the tables from the same DB, tables from same database. So it is going to join the tables by using the same database. But if you use a joiner transformation, so the joiner transformation is something that which it can join the heterogeneous sources as well as a homogeneous sources. What is the meaning of heterogeneous? What is the meaning of heterogeneous? When I say heterogeneous, it can join the two flat files. So SQL join cannot join the two flat files. If you have a two flat files data, you can join that using a joiner transformation. And at the same time, it can also join the one relational table and one flat file. One relational table and one flat file can be joined by using a joiner transformation. And it's also possible that one relational table is coming from one DB, one database, and the other relational table is coming from the different database, other database, something like that. Other DB, two different databases, you can join it. Other DB, so it can join it. And it can also perform the homogeneous join also. And when you say homogeneous join, it can also do that as well. So when you do the homogeneous join, so which means it can even combine the two relational tables which are coming from the same database. But joiner transformation will not use if we are if the two tables are from the same database, we are not going to use a joiner transformation. Rather, we are going to use the source qualifier transformation to join the data. Source qualifier transformation to join the data. How to join the multiple tables coming from the same database using a source qualifier transformation, that we will discuss in the next hands-on lab. This example we'll discuss in the next hands-on lab. So most of the time, if the two relational tables are from same database, we'll go for a source qualifier, and remaining all the other scenarios what you have, heterogeneous scenarios, where you want to combine the two flat files, one relational table and one flat file, and all those things, that you do. So like inner join, outer join, and all these things, even in the joiner transformation, you have four types of join, called as a normal join, and you have a master outer join, and the other one is called as a detail outer join. And the next one is called as a full outer join. Normal join is just like your SQL, we'll call it as an inner join, and master outer join works like a right outer join, right join, or the right join or the right outer join, and the detail outer join will work like a left join or the left outer join, and the full outer join is like a full outer join only. Full outer join will work on the basis of full outer join. So we'll see how the data will be distributed across, and what is a master and what is a detail, and along with this thing. And the next thing is to understand about the group by, aggregate. Okay, let's take one example and then understand. So how to choose the master, how to choose the master source in the joiner, how to choose the master source. So to choose the master source, always the master source will be the table which is having a less number of records, or the source which is having a less number of records will be chosen as a master source. Source which is having a smaller number of rows, or the less volume of data will be smaller number of rows will be taken as a master source. Suppose if I'm combining two sources, let's say I'm combining two sources called as a order.txt and the product relational table. Assume that. So when you look at the two tables, always two sources, order will have always the more number of rows compared to product. So we can consider the product as a master source in this scenario. Product as a master source. So if one is a master, other will become the detail source. To use it. So master source and the detail source. So master source will be always the table which is having a less number of records, and other will have a detail. So this is a detail source, and this is a master source. So let's take a simple example and then understand how does a detail outer join, right outer join, left outer join works. So I'm taking one example called as part_color. This is assume that this is a master source. And parts_size, there is one more source that I'm taking. So this, assume this as a parts_size. This I'm just calling this as a detail source. Let's say you have the columns called as a part number, and you have a part name, and then you have something called as a parts_color. And here also you have the things part number, and you have the part name, and this is a size. Okay, so let's say you have a part number 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3, and the part name is ABC. So just A, part name is B, and this is the data that is present in the two columns. Two tables, and the color is just say black, blue, and C you have it as a column as a red. You have the column as a red. And the other thing is that, so 1, and the part name is the same, A, and size is let's say this, you call it as a large, and you have 3 is C, and the size is a medium. This is the data that I'm representing in the two sources to understand how this is a 4 and you have a D, not B, D, and this is going to be the small. So inner join, what does an inner join does? Inner join will give you the matching data between the two tables. So when you write a matching data between the two tables, what is the matching here? 1 and 3. 1, 3 are the matching. So if you represent the data, so let's say you're representing the part number and part name. So how the data will appear in the inner join? If you join them using a 2, how the data will appear? So this is a color, part name or whatever. So this is a color and this is a size. So when you represent 1, what will happen? The part name is A and color is black. So the size is large. Size is large. And when you represent the 3, this 3 is C. So C is common. So the color is red. And this is medium. So this will become the inner join. So you have only the matching data. 1 and 3 are matching. So you have given the matching data between the two sources. What does a master outer join does? Master outer join will give you only the matching records from the master source. So only matching records from the master source. Matching records from master source plus all the records from the detail source. All the records from the detail source. So if you see, what are the matching records? 1 and 3 are the matching records. So 1 and 3 matching records. Along with this, what it will give? All the records from the detail source. If you look at the detail source, what is an extra record? 4. So it is going to stamp 4, and what is the value? D, 4, and then D. What is the color? So 4 record is not existing in the master source. So this will be null. And this will become the small. So it will give you master source will give you the, sorry, I think I've added in a wrong place. Okay, this is 1. So master source will give you the matching records from the master source and all the records from the detail source, which will be like a right join. And next time when you see the detail outer join, so when you talk about the detail outer join, so the detail outer join in this way, so detail outer join will give you all the records from the detail source. All matching records from the detail source. Matching records from detail source plus all the records from the master source. So which is like a left outer join. All the records from the master source. So what are the matching records here? 1 and 3 are the matching records between this. So when you look at the detail outer join, so 1 and 3 are matching. What is a record which is not matching? Second. So just use second, and this will become B, and the color is blue, and the size is not defined because you don't have a record B which is existing in the detail source. This will become null. And when you say full outer join will give you all the records from both the sources. That's it. Matching and unmatching records from both the sources. Matching and unmatching records from both the sources. So to do that, now matching plus unmatching records from both the sources. So now when you try and use it again, so this will give you the record and an extra record. So total the output of this will be the matching plus unmatching. So you'll have one more record, that is a 4, whatever the record that you have, the 4 record is there, and this will give you the full outer join. So master outer join, detail outer join, and the full outer join, it will give you the matching and unmatching records from both the source. Why it is displaying it as a null value? Because there is no value which is defined for this. So that's the reason you're defining. That is how the master outer join, detail outer join, and the full outer join will work in the joiner transformation. So after you complete the joiner, next thing is about the aggregator transformation. So aggregator transformation will just works like a group by clause. How you use a group by clause in the SQL? So the same way aggregator transformation also works. So if you want to group the data, whenever you want to calculate the total values, average, minimum, maximum, and all these things can be done by using group by clause. So we'll also see the group by clause, how it can be defined. And next thing is about the sorter transformation. So the sorter transformation, how it works? Sorter transformation works like a order by clause. Whenever you want to sort the data in the ascending order or the descending order or anything, yes, we are going to use a sorter transformation. So the lab number 7 talks about how to combine one relational table and one flat file, and how to aggregate the data and how to sort the data. So when you go to the data mapping sheet which we have, in the data mapping sheet you'll clearly come to know how the data mapping is being done, for this, So when you open the data mapping sheet, what I have, so in the data mapping sheet I have all these which is defined already. So what is a source table, what is a target table for this mapping, and then all the things, we will do it. It's taking a time here. Wait a minute. So now we are loading the data by using the joiner transformation by combining the two tables. That is your m underscore ods underscore order amount. So if you see, there are two sources. One is order is a flat file and the product is a relational table. Order is a flat file and the product is a relational table that you have to use it. So you're going to combine one flat file with a one relational table. Let's take a look at the sources, and this is the target that you're going to load, ods underscore order amount, and you're going to aggregate the data and then use the joiner transformation and all those. So let's do one by one. Now you have the source, the source tables and source files are available here. So if you open the source files, there is a file called as a order.txt, which is a tab separated file. If you see, you have a columns like order date, product, and then the quantity. Order date, product, and the quantity. So you have all these values. So order will consist of, these are the three columns, and the product is a relational table. So you have two sources, one target. So let's try and import the source table, source file first. Let me just import the file, order file, which is there in my documents folder. Just go to labs, source files, and I just have to import the order.txt. So order flat file, select it, click on OK. I'm importing the flat file. I want to import the field names from the first line, and then click on next. It is a delimited file, not a fixed width file. So in fact, it is a tab delimited. So just uncheck this and then verify the tab delimiter and then click on next. Here you have a order date, product, and then the quantity. So if you just want to, I have imported the field names from the first line. If you see, I have selected this option, import field names from the first line. So that's why everything is being populated. Just click on OK. So now, yes, Srinivas, anyway, you'll get the recordings maybe after some time. They have already pinged you the username, password also. You can just copy from there after the class. So now we have the order flat file, which consists of order date, product, and then the quantity. Order date, product, and then the quantity that you're going to use. The order date, product, and then the quantity. Date is a string and remaining all other numbers. So in case if you want to increase the precision or something more than 19 characters, and this product I want to keep it as 10, and the quantity also I just want to keep it as a 10, and all those things. So now we have imported order flat file. Similarly, let's import a product table from the database, which is available in my SDBU schema. So that is in the OLTP. So just use SDBU and then use the SDBU schema and then connect it. So when you use SDBU schema here, now I have the product table. So select and import the product table which you have. So now you have the product table and the order flat file. So whenever you're going to join, first you need to understand how you can join. There should be a common column that you can join both of them. Here product in the order flat file can be joined with a product code in the product table. So we are going to join these two sources by using a product code in the product. We have even the other columns, whatever is required will bring it into that. Now we have a sources ready. So the next step is to import the target. Go to targets, import from database, and all my targets are available in the user file schema. So just go here, click on user file, tables. Now the target table is ODS underscore order amount. So just select the ODS underscore order amount and click on OK. Click on OK. Now you have a source and target tables are ready. So let's try and build a mapping. Go to the mapping designer. Here you're going to create a mapping. Click on create. So the M underscore the target table name, M underscore ODS underscore product. So click on OK. Now you have the sources which are available. So sources are available in the OLTP. Here you have one is a product, so drag and drop, and the flat file. So order is a flat file, so drag and drop. So for each source definition, you'll have one. For each source definition, you'll have a product and the order for one source qualifier is being added. So out of this, if you compare both of them, product will have a less number of records. So, and the product will be the master and order will be the detail. So let me create the joiner transformation. Click on create, select the joiner transformation, JNR underscore ODS underscore and whatever, like you're combining both product and order. So naming convention you have to follow in the same way because that's the best practice that we actually use. Product and the order, joiner product underscore order. So click on done. So when you look at it, so you want to join both the sources. So now the question is that for using one joiner transformation, you can combine only two sources, not more than that. Suppose if you want to combine 5 sources, how many joiner transformations are required? 4. 5 minus 1. So it's just as good as your number of joins, how you use it. So drag and drop the columns, whatever is required from the source table. So whatever the columns that is required. So as per the lab, so let's drag and drop the required columns. So this is a lab that we are looking at it. So whatever the columns are required. Okay, from the order, from the product, you require a product code, vendor ID, price, and the cost. Product code, vendor ID, price, and the cost. So product code, vendor ID, you can just drag and drop, and then the vendor ID, price, and cost. So this is your required columns, and you require all the columns from the order. So just drag and drop that. So now edit it. If you see, you have 3 types of ports: input port, output port, and M stands for a master port. M stands for a master. So these are all the columns which are coming from the order, but I wanted to do product table as a master. So you just go and click any of the port that is projected from the product table. It will automatically apply the master port column for all the columns. So these are all the columns which are projected from the product. So I marked this source as a master source, and remaining all the other columns. If one is a master, other will become automatically the detail. So you need not to select it. So now I have marked the product as a master source and this as a detail source. So here you can join you can add the description. This joiner transformation combines or joins or fetches the matching data, or you can write retrieves, or you can write whatever, like whatever is in your simple terms, retrieves the matching data, so on. So you can write it. Now you have defined these things, and then go to the condition. So here you're going to add a condition. So in the condition tab, you're going to give the condition saying that these two sources can be joined by using this condition. Product code is equal to product. And very important thing is here is that using a joiner transformation, you can perform only the equi join. You cannot perform a non-equi join. See here, I can select only the equal to operator. It doesn't allow you to select the greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, all these things. So the joiner transformation has a limitation. It will perform only the equi join. Non-equi join is not supported in the joiner transformation. Now I wanted to join the master.product code equal to detail.product. And the next thing is the go to the properties. So let's understand the properties one by one. So to understand the properties, like whenever you want to do the case sensitive string comparison, let's say you're comparing the varchar columns and you wanted it to be a case sensitive, then it will perform a case sensitive string comparison. If you're unchecking this, it doesn't perform a case sensitive string comparison. Like yesterday, what we have seen about the rank transformation, your joiner transformation is also something that which creates the cache files. It will bring the data from flat file, it will bring the data from product table, and then keep entire data into the cache memory, and it will create two types of cache files. One is a data cache, another is a index cache. So it will bring the data from both of them and then keep it into this data cache and the index cache. So if you want to specify the size for the cache files in terms of bytes, you can specify the memory size here. If you don't want to specify the cache size, so you can just leave it as is. And it will create the cache files in this directory. So yesterday, whatever the directory that we have seen, it will create the cache files in this directory. And after the session is being completed, it will remove all the cache files from there. This is a join condition, so you have to specify the condition from the condition tab, and the join type is going to be you can select the join type here, whether you are going with a normal join, master outer join, detail outer join, or the full outer join. I would like to go with a normal join, so I'm selecting the normal join. If you want to go with a full outer join, master outer join, anything, you can select it. And null ordering in the master and null ordering in the detail. So you want to sort the null values as the first in the master source and null values in the first in the detail source, then you can select it. Or if you want to keep it as the lowest value, you can select this value. This is your drop down which you can select it. And the tracing level is the same. And here is an important option again, sorted input. So whenever your Informatica is joining the two sources, what it will do is first it will sort the data based upon the join conditional columns. First it will sort the data, then it will join the data by using the condition that you have provided. In case, whenever you are providing the input to the joiner transformation, data is already sorted, then you can select this option. So if you are selecting this option, what will happen? Your Informatica will not sort it again. It will just use the sorted data. It will just assume that a data is already sorted, so it will just start joining the data. So whenever you are providing a sorted input to the joiner transformation, then you can select this. If you're not providing sorted input, leave it. What happens if you not providing a sorted input and then select it? This will throw the error. So on the master sort order, always it will be in the auto. You won't sort that in the ascending or the descending order. And the transformation scope, keep it as always as a all input instead of row by row and then the transaction by transaction basis. So that is how it will perform the joiner transformation and all the records will be given. So that is how the joiner works. And then the next thing is that if you see the order date, whatever is coming from the order table, that is a string. So, but in order to populate the data into the target, I need a date format. So that's why what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert the date. I'm going to convert the order date to the date by using the expression. So I'm using the expression exp underscore convert underscore date. Convert underscore date. So click on create and then done. So you have a product code, vendor ID, price, cost, and everything. So I need all the columns, whatever is required. So just drag and drop this. I'm sorry. I don't require all the columns. I'm sorry. This anyway, you can just connect it from here also. I require only the order date. So we can just pull all these things into this. So this order date, I would like to convert this into a input output, date format. So that's why I'm creating one more output port called as out_order date or whatever. So this is going to be the date time. So assign the date time here, and then this will be an output port. If you look at the source table, date format, it is dd-mon-yyyy format. So I'm going to use 2_date, whatever is the date that you have, port stamp, order date, and then you have a order date format as dd-mon-yyyy. So you're using this and then validate the date. So now the order date is being converted into the order date format. Next thing is that I would like to sort the data before aggregating it. I would like to sort the data. So I'm creating a sorter transformation to sort the data. So select the sorter transformation from the drop down. Sorter transformation will sort the data in the ascending order or the descending order. So you want to sort the data, so just ODS_order amount. This is a target table name I'm just using to do that. And now you have order date, which is from this thing. Just rename it. This is no more a output port, just a rename. And remaining columns, you have a product code, anything you can bring it. So the product code or vendor ID, and remaining columns, you want it as a price, cost, and all those things. Price, cost, and then the quantity. So remaining all these columns, you do this. I want to aggregate the data based upon the order date, product code, and the vendor ID. So I want to group the data by using these columns. So how can you group it? Here you have a new port called as a key column. So if you select this, it will sort the data based upon these columns. I want to sort the data based upon these 3 columns. So I'm selecting this, and you can also select the direction. You can also select the direction how you have to join, whether you want to do it in the ascending order or the descending order. You can also select in one way, one in ascending, another in the descending order. So use the ascending and then ascending order, and then here you can write a description and go to the properties tab next thing. And even the sorter also will sorts the data in the temporary directory. It will keep the data in the temp file, and then it will sort the data by using a memory in the temp directory. Where is this temp directory is available? This will be there in the server. Again, in your info shared folder, there will be a temp directory where it will use the space available in this directory to do that. In case of your Oracle database, it will use a temp table space to sort the data. That's why the naming convention is being provided as a temp directory. And sorter cache size is auto, means like whenever you want to define the cache size for a memory cache, you can define this from here. And if you want to do the case sensitive sorting, then you can use the select option. And suppose, let's say you have duplicate values in the data. I want to get rid of all the duplicate values. If you select this, it will automatically eliminate all the duplicates by using this. This works on a distinct basis. And the tracing level is normal, and you want to use it as null treated low. What does that mean? Null treated low means it will sort all the null values in the last, and all these things will be in the first. And if you want to do the transformation scope, either by using based on all the input or the row by row, that you have to select it. So here I don't want to select the distinct records. I'm just sorting the data based upon these columns because I'm going to use these columns for aggregating the data. So now I have sorted the data, and then just go ahead with your question. Yes.
When we select that distinct option, right, will that duplicate records can be write into some other output we want? Can we do that?
It cannot be written, but for that you have to define a separate logic.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, we have this one, right?
Yeah. So that cannot be done, and we have to return a separate logic. It will eliminate the duplicates, and it doesn't give you the option to write the duplicates into that. So there should be a separate logic you have to implement it. Okay, now after sorting the data, I would like to aggregate the data based upon this. So just use an aggregator, AGG underscore ODS underscore order amount. I would like to calculate the total price, total cost, and total quantity by aggregating the data based upon the product code, order date, and the vendor ID. So whatever the required columns that you have, so just drag and drop all those required columns into this and then edit it. So your aggregated transformation works in the same way. Whenever you want to add an expression, you can just make use of output ports, variable ports, all those things. And there is a port called as a group by port. So just select it, it will group the data based upon whatever the columns that you have. Now I would like to calculate the total price, total cost, and the total quantity. That's why I marked all of these ports as an input port. To calculate the total price, I'm going to use this is to copy paste, and whenever I need a total cost as well, and I need the total quantity. You can use any function. I mean average, minimum, maximum, anything you can use it. So these are all the output ports. I would like to add an expression to this by using aggregate functions. So I'm marking them as an output. So here I'm going to use it as price underscore out or cost underscore out. And once you mark them as an output port or the variable port, then only the expression will be edited and you can add something over here. So if this is not edited, you can't do anything. So here you're going to do, let's say I have to calculate the total price. All the aggregate functions will be available here. You can make use of any aggregate function what is available here. I want to calculate the total value, so to just use sum of the ports, whatever you do it, sum of the price. So validate the port, expression passed successfully, and click on OK. Similarly, the cost. So let's say I want to calculate the average cost. I want to calculate the average cost. So you can use the average function to do that. So all the functions or most of the functions and all the functions what you have in Oracle database and other databases are available. Let's say you want to fetch the minimum quantity or max quantity, max of the quantity or whatever. So I'm just trying to actually make you understand what kind of functions we can use here. All the function whatever is available, you can do that. So just validate the data and then expression passed successfully. Now you have a sum, average, max, and everything. So just apply it and then click on OK. So okay, next thing is that you're grouping the data, and then here you can enter the details and then just go to the transformation. So aggregator also will create the two types of cache files in the directory, and then it will delete cache files after the cache is being deleted. After the session is being succeeded, and here you can select it. And there is one option here called as a sorted input, which means if you're already sorting the data based upon your group by columns, whatever the columns that you have used for a group by, if you're already sorting the data based upon these columns, then you can select this option. If you're not sorting the data based upon the group by columns, then you should not select it. Okay, so your aggregator transformation assumes that your data is already sorted and it will just perform the aggregation. Here you can mention the size for a data cache and the index cache, and the transformation scope always will keep it as an all input. And the tracing level is a normal. So since we are sorting the data exactly same on the group by columns, I'm sorting the data based upon these three columns, and I'm sorting the data based upon the group by columns. Now I have this, and I'm going to populate the data into the target. So what is your target? Your target is ODS underscore order amount. So bring the target from here. ODS underscore order amount. So you have the product code and you have the order date and you have the vendor ID and you have the price, quantity, and you have the average cost. So save it, whatever you have done, and so this will complete your mapping. So here, this is a little big lag. What we have done, we have seen 3 transformations together in a single mapping. We are extracting the data from one relational table and one flat file and then combining the data using joiner. We have converted the date to the date format and we have sorted the data by using the sorter and then aggregated the data, calculated the aggregated values and then loading the data into the target. So that completes your mapping. Check the mapping is valid. So before proceeding and then running the workflow, if you have any questions on the mapping level, you can go ahead now.
Hello, Karthik.
Yeah, Malik, go ahead.
So how many transformations can we take in one flow?
There is no limit as such.
Oh, okay.
You can just take as many as, but maybe it depends upon completely depends upon the memory, how much it is going to use. You can have any number of transformations. You can create as big as that. Whatever the logic that you have, you can keep performing and then do that. That's it. But you should just follow the rules. What we learned. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Karthik?
Yes. Yes.
In this mapping, actually, we already did the sort here, right? In that, so instead of sort transformation, we can do that sorting in aggregate also, right?
Where can you do that aggregator? In the aggregator.
In sort transformation, you are then sorting the data, right? Based on the vendor ID, product code, and
No. Where? Yeah, I'm doing that. Where I'm doing it?
No, in sort transformation, we are just sorting the data, right?
Yes. Yes.
That sorting we can do it in aggregator also, right?
We don't have that option to do that. We cannot sort the data by using the aggregator.
Okay. Yeah, I confused it. Okay.
Hey, Karthik.
Yeah, Malik, go ahead.
When we are defining the input, the sorting that we are defining in the query, so that is why we are selecting the option here, right? Sorted input.
Yes. Because we already sorted the data by using sorter transformation on the grouped columns. That's why I have selected this input. Otherwise, you should not do that. It will throw the error if you are not sorting and then selecting this option.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm proceeding with the generation of the workflow by using a wizard. I'm generating it and I'll select I'm going with a workflow with a non-reusable or reusable, and I'll provide all the source file and everything in the workflow level. I'm not providing any connections, all those things. For a flat file, you have to provide the path. For a source table, you have to provide the relational connection. So let me just log in using my user ID. Okay, this, and then let's provide the path, all those things. So administrator. So this is my working folder. So the workflow would have been generated already. So the workflow name what we have used is wf_m_ods order amount. So which you have, what happened? Which user ID I have created here? One second. I'm not able to see that. I think I have created this with a other user ID, and I just have to check which user ID I've logged in with. And did I?
Save it, Karthik. You didn't save this one.
No, I've done that. It's valid. No, I'm not able to see the workflow there. Okay, let me just. I think another user may have this file open. I'll just go into this open. I think I've done that by using Brian user ID. Okay, Brian, like you can just delete that workflow later. Okay, this I've done that by using the other user ID which I have logged in here. Earlier that was actually, oh no, I don't have here also. Where did it go?
But shouldn't the administrator have access to everyone?
No, unless you check in that, you can't see that. I mean, unless the user has checked in that option, it doesn't show up. What is the user ID did I use?
I thought you were using user 5 or something like that.
User 5 I used, is it? Okay, let me just try this.
Yeah, you.
There is a check-in, check-out option. Unless the user is check-in, I mean, you can't see. This also we don't have. Did I create in separate folder or such? Okay, let me just verify, find, checkout.
You're using user.
Yeah. All the users, all the folders in the repository. Okay, mappings. Yeah, this ODS employee, ODS time. MNOP, it's on the data by object name. I can't see that mapping. Yeah, ODS order amount is there. Administrator only have done it.
I see the joiner at the top.
Yeah. ODS order amount. I have this, but I can't see that. I think I have created in a different folder, not in the repository folder, I think. Oh, no, there were folders even. Okay, let me 1 second, give me a moment.
Karthik, you created that M underscore ODS underscore product only, right? You see that?
I created like that.
Log which you see down, right? Mapping M underscore ODS underscore product is valid. That's the latest one you created, right?
Okay, I think I gave it to wrong name. Okay, ODS underscore. This should be the. I'll give it the mapping name as well.
I can see that.
Okay, this is a workflow which we have created, and let me just rename this workflow because we have again the ODS product which will be loaded, and you can rename this workflow. I'm just renaming this workflow to this ODS underscore amount, and I'm going to even rename the session as well. So I want to rename this. Amount, but the mapping name is being modified. Now let's check whether this will fetch the data or not. Let me just refresh the mapping. Oh, it's still pointing to mapping M underscore. I just renamed it. I don't have anything as such. Okay, now this is modified. Save it. Okay, I've renamed the mapping and everything. Now I'm going to provide the connection. So one, we have the flat file. Flat file, you have to actually copy that into your source folder. What is your source folder? Informatica source files. Inside that Informatica source files, I'm going to copy my order.txt file, which I have used for a source, and this is available in the source. So just drag and drop, and it is going to use the file which is available. And so this is a file reader, so I'm going to, by default, it will be looking at that path. It is a direct mode, and then this, and your flat file source file name is order.txt. So it is a case sensitive Linux, so make sure that we have a proper name here. So order.txt, otherwise it cannot recognize the file name. And then enter the correct path and then apply, and then the product table is in the relational table. It is coming from the source OLTP underscore SDPU. So, and the target table is having a primary key, composite primary key, which is like a normal mode, which I have to do. And enter the bad file name, something like a user5 or whatever. Just apply and then click on OK. Now you have provided all the connections. This will extract the data from source and then populate the data into your target table. So if you look at your target data, will not have any data now currently because we have not loaded the data yet. So now it will extract the data. Observe the session log also to check how the data, what queries are being filed, and how the Informatica is building the cache files, and all those things can be verified from the session log. Start the workflow now. Now go to the workflow monitor. So it will show you the status. Once it recognizes it, it will say here's workflow is, starting the execution of the workflow, it shows here in the workflow manager. And now you logged in using that. Okay. It's opening. So mine is a repo folder. Don't have anything. So fast it is getting completed. So you have WF underscore ODS underscore order amount, ODS order amount. So this is your workflow. Just check. This is a 24:86 AM. So currently we have run this. Check the statistics. Out of 279 rows from all the source tables, it has inserted only 103. If you have to consider according to the source target statistics, And if you use order 199 in the product, you have 80. Out of these, only 103 matching records which are there because you have used a normal join, right? So you have not used a master outer or a full outer join. That's why it has used only the matching data between the tables. So, oh, somebody is running. Okay, very good. Who has created already? So if you look at here, you can check how the joiner has, how much cache size it has used, and what is the source file it has used. For sorter, how much sorting data it has used. I mean, how much sorting memory it has used. All these things you can validate it from the session logs. All the cache files will be deleted automatically whenever the file is, I mean, whenever the session is being succeeded. So now there is a property at the session level, something called as an incremental aggregation. Something called as an incremental aggregation. So let me just go to order amount. So go to the session properties. There is something called as an incremental aggregation. If you're selecting the property, this property in the performance, so it will create the, I mean, it will permanently store the cache files into the memory. So what is the use of incremental aggregation? Let's understand. Now we have loaded the data, so you can cross check whether you have a data available in the target table or not. What is that? Need to refresh it. Review data. No, there is no data.
Yes, Karthik, this is exactly what I was having the other day.
Okay. No rejected records also, right? But it is not showing up the data. And okay, let's log into my schema. I'm logging into my schema, that is user file schema. At the rate ORC. So let's just validate the count of records. Order amount. Oh, 1 second.
Hey, Karthik,
Yeah.
can you show us with the wizard how we can troubleshoot this?
Yes.
Yeah, we were having the same issue the other day. So
Yes. So we tried with the wizard, but we are not able to find out with the wizard too.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just check. It shows here as a wizard also it is.
Can we check the mapping? Can we check the mapping properties whether it is pointing to user 5 or not?
No, that is pointing to user 5. I think so. Okay, let's check that. Okay. I think I have selected the user 5. Oops. Yes, that is a mistake. I've selected the different. Yes, that's correct, Srini. Thanks. Okay. So this was actually pointing to the different user. It is not connecting to user 5. That's why the data was not actually showing up. Okay, let me just rerun the mapping now. So maybe that might be the case with Syed, you guys, I don't know.
yeah, probably.
So let's verify the data now. Yeah, 103 records is being loaded. Okay, so yeah, Vishnu, like you just truncate and then load it. So it might have been loaded to some other user account. Yeah, thanks, Rini. Yeah, that was wrong. So now we have done with this, and I was actually talking about the incremental aggregation. So how the incremental aggregation works. So the incremental aggregation, something is actually the performance benefit. Suppose let's say today you are performing the aggregation on the 1000 rows, and your cache files are created for 1000 rows, and it will create the two cache files called as a data cache and the index cache. Data cache and the index cache. Tomorrow the data will get added to your source. Let's say 500 more records have been added to your source. What it has to do now, currently for 1000 records, it has calculated the max value, it has calculated the average value, it has calculated what total value and everything. Every value it is being calculated and kept it. So whenever a new record set is being added, what will happen? It has to perform for 1500 records. It has to calculate again the max value, average value, sum value and everything. If you are selecting the incremental aggregation, what will happen is that it will identify the records which are added newly, and it will calculate the max, sum, average value on particular columns only for 500 records. Only for 500 records, and it will reuse the calculations which it has done already. Okay, suppose let's say I have a max, sum, average value something as 10k and 20k. Just assume that 20k and 30k, and when you have calculated a max value, you got here as a 15k, and the total average value is somewhere around 12k, and the total value again you got it as a 50k something. So already you have the aggregated values which you have already calculated for 1000 rows, and it will calculate only for incremental records and then combine the aggregated value with the existing values. So by selecting the incremental aggregation, what your Informatica is doing, that it is only performing the aggregated calculations only on the incremental data, not on the existing data. So where these values are being stored, where does the Informatica is storing these values? When you select the incremental aggregation, where does this is storing? Now we understand that Informatica will create two types of cache files, and then it will create the data cache and the index cache. So what will happen when you select this incremental aggregation? What will happen when you select this incremental aggregation? I think the second time I have selected the incremental aggregation and then run it. So when I have selected the incremental aggregation, Informatica will save these aggregated cache files into the Informatica memory. It will save it. See here, it has already saved these values. First time it has not saved these values. When I have selected the incremental aggregation, it has saved this index cache files and the data cache files. So these cache files will already have the data for aggregated records for an existing data. So when the new data is being added to your source, Informatica, instead of performing the aggregation on the whole set of records, it will always perform the aggregated calculation only on the incremental records, and then do it. So this is how the incremental aggregation works. Now let's say, assume that when you are actually calculating, these are all the values that you are calculating on the salary column. These are all the salary column. You are calculating a max, average, sum or something. And for these 1000 records, assumption is that the salary value doesn't get changed in the source. If this value is being modified, then whatever the calculated value or what Informatica has stored is incorrect. So you can't combine this. So the incremental aggregation can be useful only for a static sources. That means where you have an assumption is that my data is not getting changed. It is static. And whenever I'm adding a new data is getting added to my source, but the old data is not getting changed. Only then you can select this incremental aggregation property. Only then you can select the incremental aggregation property. And suppose assume that your data is being refreshed in the source, and you want to reinitialize the cache files. Then you can select this option. There is an option, one more option is called as a reinitialize the aggregate cache. When you select this option, what will happen is that it will overwrite, it will recreate the aggregate cache files. So what will happen now? let's go and see. Assume that our source is being modified. Check the timestamp what you have here. It shows it as 6:41 p.m. It shows the timestamp on the server as 6:41 p.m. Let me just try and run. When I reinitialize the aggregate cache, it will overwrite all these files. It will overwrite all these files. So since I'm doing it on one more time, I'm just selecting this. Since I have a primary key and all those again, I'm selecting this truncate target table property and then doing it. Truncate target table option and then doing it. So I'm just truncating that and then loading that. It is throwing me the warning when I'm selecting that option. Option is, it's throwing the warning. Now see that as soon as you see the workflow, data is being loaded, your cache files will be, earlier it was with the 641, now it is with the 647. Means whenever you feel that there is a change in the source data and I have to reinitialize my cache files, you can reinitialize. And Informatica will save the cache files for an aggregator or for an aggregator when you select only the incremental aggregation property. It doesn't store the cache files if you're not selecting this option. Just try with this and without that. When you're doing a lab, first you can try by using a incremental aggregation only for this. If you select this, then only it will save the files. Now try and run it. The old files will be there because you're not deleting it. You're not deleting it, the old files will be there, but it doesn't create, it doesn't save the files. All the cache files, whatever is being created, it is for a temporary purpose and it will be deleted. So for aggregator, whenever you want to enable the incremental aggregation, you can enable it and it will save the cache files. So what is the advantage of saving the cache files here? So that instead of performing on the whole chunk of data again, it will perform always on the incremental data and then combine the results with the existing values that is being stored here. You can't read these files. It will be in the encrypted format. You cannot read these files. Even if you try and then do this as well, you cannot read it. So that is the use of incremental aggregation, and that is about the lab number 7. So you can go with your questions now. We'll discuss and then wind up for today.
Yes, Karthik, I had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not related to this mapping, but whenever I open the source analyzer, I don't get a blank screen. I don't get a new source analyzer screen. I get my source analyzer opens with tables from previous things that I did.
Okay. So yeah, it's actually the temporary memory in the client. Somewhere the temporary memory will be created for that, and then that will be used. So suppose, let's say, if you want to get rid of it will always refer to your old instance what you have used. Okay. So if you just want to get rid of that, so just right click on it, clear all. It will do that.
Okay, thanks.
Right click on it, clear all. It will remove. It is not removing from the folder, but it will remove from the workspace what you have.
Right. Thanks.
So, okay.
Also, sometimes the server that we are RDPing into, that's really slow when there are multiple people logged into it.
Yeah.
Is there a way to overcome that, or?
Yeah, because now currently, I don't know what timings you're actually accessing. I think that is a 16 GB machine. If 5 or 6 people are accessing at the same time, probably you might be experiencing a little, and that is also that too on the VM. On the one Linux box we have with 8 GB, and other VM contains a Windows 2003 server which access that VM. Linux box. So you might be having some problem, but we'll make sure. We'll try to. I'll request this to increase the infrastructure. We'll just work on it.
Thanks, Karthik.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks a lot.